Welcome to Hello Talk English Pod.
Welcome to Hello Talk English Pod.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson. I'm Yumi.
I'm Ryan.
In today's lesson, we have Luke and Amber hanging out again, and they're talking about how to discuss their previous work experience in a job interview. Let's have a listen to the dialogue and see what they say.
The job that I'm applying for is an entry-level position in the company. What kind of work experience questions do you think they'll ask?
Similar to the tell me about yourself question, they'll probably start off asking something like, how does your prior work experience prepare you for this role?
I love answering those broad questions in interviews. So is this my opportunity to go into detail about my work experience?
Yes. Try to quantify your answers as much as possible by using statistics.
What do you mean? Can you give me an example?
Using numbers helps employers see your results as a measure of success. Instead of saying, I helped my company sell new products, you can say, I increased new product sales by 50%.
Ah, I see. Very impressive. It's a great opportunity for me to sell myself.
Yes. Ultimately, employers want to know whether or not you can help solve their problem. Check the job description for clues as to why the company needs this role filled.
Exactly. The interview is like a big sales pitch to the potential employer. I just need to focus on articulating how my skills and experience will help meet their needs.
Not only meet their needs, but exceed their expectations.
Okay, at the beginning, Luke says the job I'm applying for is an entry-level position in the company. So what does this mean?
So the word entry level basically means it's a starting position. It's an entry-level position into the job or the company.
That's a good point. Also, an entry level could be into an industry.
Exactly. Usually an entry-level position is for students who've just graduated or it's their first job.
So here, entry level is an adjective. It works as an adjective and describes the noun here, which is position. Usually it's just used with jobs or positions or work related.
Exactly. Moving on, Amber says later, how does your prior work experience prepare you for this role? So the word prior here is basically another word for previous.
Right, they're interchangeable and both quite common.
Exactly. I think whether you use prior or previous, both of them work, and it's just personal preference.
So the next one, Luke goes into talking about broad questions. He says, I love answering those broad questions in interviews. Do you think he's serious?
I think he is serious. I think he does actually enjoy answering broad questions. So what exactly does broad questions in an interview mean?
So broad questions, if you remember in a previous lesson, we talked about open-ended questions. These are both kind of the same idea.
Exactly. The word broad basically means something that's wide. So when you ask broad questions, this means that you're asking open-ended questions that might not have one specific answer.
You're exactly right. Something like, tell me about your previous work experience, or how do you define success? These are both broad questions, have a wide range of answers, and could be open to a lot of different things that you can say.
So after that, Luke says, so this is my opportunity to go into detail about my work experience. Now, going into detail means that you want to be specific. You want to give more examples.
Right, you don't want to be vague and unclear. You want to say exactly what you did or tell the important parts and highlight what you really did.
Exactly. Other situations that you might use this phrase, go into detail, is if you're talking to a friend and they're telling you a story, you might say, could you go into detail, or give me the details?
Give me the details is a more casual way of saying go into detail.
Right. And so I might expect my friend to give me specifics about the location, the time, the environment, the people, and any other small details that might be relevant to the story.
For example, Yumi, I heard you went to a restaurant last night. Can you give me the details?
Yeah, The ambiance was really nice, the music was really relaxing, the service was great, and the food was delicious. The ingredients were really fresh.
That's an excellent use of detail.
Thanks, Ryan.
So then Amber says, yes, try to quantify your answers as much as possible by using statistics.
So the word quantify here is basically putting numbers.
For example, if you work in sales, you might need to quantify your results. So saying how much you sold in 1 month, for example.
Exactly, that's a great point. And after, she says, as much as possible by using statistics. So statistics is basically the specific numbers and maybe even percentages.
Right, more commonly, people in the U.S. might say stats.
Right. I know I say stats all the time, and that's just an abbreviation of the word statistics. So usually you want to calculate statistics. You would calculate the numbers or the percentage that you want to give.
Moving on, Luke says, what do you mean? Can you give me an example? And Amber goes on to say, using numbers helps employers see your results as a measure of success. So a measure of success, what does she mean by this?
So a measure of success basically shows how successful something is.
Right, people can choose to measure success in different ways. Let's start with an easy example. You can measure your height. Oftentimes when people are growing up, people measure their height in the doorway.
Yes, and usually when you measure something, it's usually using numbers. For example, your height. And measuring your success can also be using numbers, which is why they want to quantify and give statistics. Moving on, Luke says, very impressive. It's a great opportunity for me to sell myself. So impressive here, how would you describe impressive?
Impressive means incredibly great.
Exactly. So the degree is better than good or great. You can use the word impressive for people, if people are impressive, as well as maybe an environment or scenery can also be impressive.
Or, for example, the movie you saw last night was very impressive.
Exactly. So let's talk about the phrase sell myself.
Right, so selling yourself means to make yourself attractive based on your experience or education. You really want to make this person interested in hiring you.
Exactly. This is actually a very key part in a job interview.
Right, so ways that you might sell yourself would be highlighting your experience, saying some of your accomplishments, or talking about times when you were a leader.
Then Amber says, yes, ultimately, employers want to know whether or not you can help solve their problem. When she uses the word ultimately, it's just another way of saying finally or in the end. Any one of these words can be interchangeable.
Yeah, you could also say, in the end, employers want to know whether or not you can help solve their problem.
Then Amber says, check the job description for clues as to why the company needs this role filled. So clues are basically hints or little bits of information.
Exactly. An easy way to remember is that police use clues to solve a crime. So these are little things that they use to follow the trail and find out who the criminal is that caused the crime.
Exactly. That's an excellent example.
So moving on, then Luke goes on to talk about an interview is like a big sales pitch. So what does he mean by sales pitch here?
So a sales pitch is when you want to sell something, perhaps a product, idea, service. And to pitch something is both a verb and a noun. So in this context, it's used as a noun.
A way to think about it is if you pitch something, you give the idea to them. You throw the idea at them. And they can decide to catch it or they can decide to let it go.
Exactly. Just the way in baseball, a pitcher will pitch the ball to the player.
And then the player can try to hit it. But we won't go into that unless you like baseball.
We'll save that for another day.
So an example of a sales pitch would be when someone tells you about their product or something to try to make you interested in this thing.
Afterwards, Luke says, I just need to focus on articulating how my skills and experience will help meet their needs. So let's talk about this word articulating.
So articulate is a verb here.
And it basically means to explain or express clearly and effectively.
Right, so this could be expressing your ideas, but it's also focused on your speech and making sure that what you say is clear and that you're not mumbling.
Exactly. So usually articulating yourself clearly is very important when giving a presentation or perhaps in a meeting.
Right, some famous actors are very well known for articulating what they say.
This is true. Now, lastly, Amber says, not only meet their needs, but exceed their expectations.
So to exceed means to go beyond or go further than. An expectation is what they thought you would do. So let's say a manager wants you to give a presentation, but they just expect something short. They just expect you to stand up and basically say what you need to report. But then you come in with a PowerPoint and you're well prepared and you do an excellent job. You exceeded the manager's expectations.
So now that we've gone through some of these words and phrases, let's listen to the dialogue again.
The job that I'm applying for is an entry-level position in the company. What kind of work experience questions do you think they'll ask?
Similar to the tell me about yourself question, they'll probably start off asking something like, how does your prior work experience prepare you for this role?
I love answering those broad questions in interviews. So is this my opportunity to go into detail about my work experience?
Yes. Try to quantify your answers as much as possible by using statistics.
What do you mean? Can you give me an example?
Using numbers helps employers see your results as a measure of success. Instead of saying, I helped my company sell new products, you can say, I increased new product sales by 50%.
Ah, I see. Very impressive. It's a great opportunity for me to sell myself.
Yes. Ultimately, employers want to know whether or not you can help solve their problem. Check the job description for clues as to why the company needs this role filled.
Exactly. The interview is like a big sales pitch to the potential employer. I just need to focus on articulating how my skills and experience will help meet their needs.
Not only meet their needs, but exceed their expectations.
After listening to the dialogue, I'm trying to think, how else can you sell yourself in an interview to really make yourself look attractive?
Well, I have a couple ideas. One is to frame things positively. So that means just say things in a positive way. And then also don't speak negatively about past experience.
Those are great points. You just also might want to research the company a lot, dress appropriately, and be confident. Most importantly, I think smile.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's all for today, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.